Tempted to drink the blood of other patients and eat the corpses in the hospital morgue.
You know who's like that, don't you?
Anyway, yeah, he was eventually ejected from the hospital under suspicion of having eaten a toddler. And then he died... A toddler, a little baby, a child, an infant, yes. Which is against the law in France.
Yeah, they're picky, the French, for their laws.
Really They gave an autopsy. Anyway, he had a belly so loose he could wrap the loose folds of skin around his waist. He sweated constantly and stank to such a degree that he could not be endured within a distance of 20 paces. At table, his eyes would become bloodshot and a visible vapour...
I'm becoming increasingly attracted to him.
A visible vapour would rise from his body when he ate.
He sounds bloody marvellous.
Despite this...
Surely someone's going to make a film about it.
He didn't gain weight or vomit. And he seemed perfectly sane.
He didn't gain weight.
No, that's...
On the eat-everything diet. He didn't gain weight.
Well, you've got a whole cat and a dog inside. They'll be probably eating everything else, huh?
Yes, that's true. Like the little old lady who swallowed the fly, yeah.
There was a diet pill like that, where people would eat
tapeworm.
tapeworm egg and then wait until they got to their ideal weight, and then they'd take the helminthicide that would kill the tapeworm, and they'd poo out the worm, and then get on.
I wish they still made that.
Slim.
Yeah. And in his autopsy, you'll be pleased to know, also revealed an enlarged liver and gallbladder, enormous stomach covered in ulcers and oozing pus. So that's nice. So time to hand your test results in. And let's talk about your sleepiness here. Now, we've got Ben here first. I'll tell you what the questions are. Basically, you fill in how likely you are to doze off in the following situations according to the following scale. All right? And the various situations are sitting and reading, watching TV, sitting inactive in a public place, e.g. theatre or meeting, travelling as a passenger in a car for an hour, lying down to rest in the afternoon, sitting and talking to someone, sitting quietly after a lunch without alcohol, in a car while stopped for a few minutes in traffic. Well, Ben here scores 6, and you'll be pleased to know there that 7 to 8 is average. 0 to 6 indicates you get sufficient sleep. Now, I don't know that my taxes are going properly if a doctor gets sufficient sleep. I pay you to be utterly overworked and underslept.
I thought this was a confidential medical...
Oh, sorry, Darren. It's very healthy results. This is Joe Marlon Brando. You've answered 0 to everything.
Yeah.
So you really do sleep enough. You never fall asleep during the day.
I never fall asleep anywhere, no.
That's fantastic. Andy, sitting and reading 1, watching TV 3. Your total, which you haven't bothered to do, thank you so much.
3, 4. I got too tired.
9, 10. Your total is 14.
Yes.
Alan has answered 3 to almost everything except sitting and talking to someone, thank goodness.
Yeah. Don't sleep then.
Yeah. And you score 19.
Yeah.
Wow.
If I sit and read a book, I will fall asleep immediately.
Now, well, anyway, so there you are. You get sufficient sleep, Ben. The rest of you, I'm sorry to say, 7 to 8 is average. Well, anything above 9 indicates you should seek the advice of a sleep specialist without delay.
All right.
Yes.
OK, I'll get on to it straight away.
Well, there you are. So now, drop your trousers. It's time for a dose of general ignorance. Fingers on, beepers, please. Why shouldn't you sleep with a dog? Yes.
He won't respect you in the morning, will he? It's against the law, isn't it?
Well, I don't know. I don't mean sleep with in the sexual sense. I mean literally share a bed with. I'm afraid it's really terribly unhealthy. Quite a lot of plague, amazingly. Good old bubonic plague, especially in the southern states of America.
Not in this country, surely.
Not at the moment. We seem to be OK in this country, but...
Because dogs are wearing those anti-plague hats.
Yes.
Can I say, apropos of nothing,
Yes.
what hideous pillowcases.
I bet
From the 70s, that picture.
they're that kind of brushed nylon where you catch your fingernails on it.
Brentford nylon.
Actually, the diseases you get off animals are often worse than the diseases you get off people, because diseases that live in humans can't kill you off instantly and universally, because otherwise the disease would die out. They need you to carry on sort of going to work and sneezing on the bus and scratching your arse and preparing food and all the other things that you do to transmit stuff. But something that lives on a dog, it doesn't care if it kills off a dead-end host like a human.
Because that's not what it's bred to
That's
live.
not
That's not part of its normal life cycle.
Yeah.
Anyway, letting dogs and cats share your bed can cause all manner of problems. So now I'm having a panic attack. What do you recommend? Yes.
A paper bag.
Yes, a good old paper bag. No, no longer
that not recommended
No, it
anymore?
isn't. No. Nor indeed the other standby, take a deep breath. Both of those are now considered rather
Pull
bad
yourself
ideas.
together.
Pull yourself together is probably okay.
Yes.
I think you can manage that. Doctor, I think I'm a pair of curtains.
Slap her, she's hysterical.
Yes, that's a fine one. She had, I think we
She
can
had
all-
good reason
Yeah.
to be
I think she
hysterical.
did,
Yeah,
because
she did.
Yeah.
Jack was not behaving normally, was he? No, he was being a little odd. But no, there's a new treatment called capnometry-assisted respiratory training, or CART. Encourages people to take shallow breaths rather than deep breaths.
You want to avoid blowing off too much carbon dioxide, don't you?
Yeah, that's the thing. It's because you're hyperventilating, apparently, you're getting rid of too much CO2, and the idea was that if you do it in the bag, then you're breathing back in the CO2. But apparently this is now not considered a very good idea. It's dangerous and should be retired, is the apparent current medical opinion.
Quite hard to find a paper bag, isn't it?
I'm going to try it on Winner.
Yeah. And avoid, if you can, fatty and spicy foods. So, now, I'm feeling extremely angry. What should I do?
Calm down, dear.
That's very good. You're quite right. What's the best thing to do when you're angry?
Have a cigarette.
No, I'm not sure that would be medically recommended.
Lie down in a darkened room, think about something nice. Puppies.
Yeah.
Those are all good suggestions. The suggestion that I'm glad you didn't make is let it out. There was this idea that if you got very angry, you should punch a punch bag and shout and let it go. And they've done some experiments again, and it turned out that those who let out their anger became over time more aggressive. And the hypothesis is that blowing off steam may reduce psychological stress in the short term, but it acts as a kind of reward mechanism, reinforcing aggressive behaviour, because you feel good when you then let it out again. So maybe it's better to bottle it up. Be British, in other words. Stiff upper lip. Yeah? Don't make a scene, don't make a fuss.
Don't make a bloody fuss.
And above all, avoid fatty and spicy. Yes, also, according to psychologists at the University of California, Santa Barbara, it's best to make decisions when you're angry, which goes, again, rather against what you might think. It seems that anger will actually, and there again, it's a hypothesis, that anger is designed to motivate people to take action. It actually helps people take the right action.
Buying shoes.
Buying shoes when you're angry.
Make sure you're really livid when you go in the shop.
I want my shoes! I think
Which pair would you like? Those! I'm really pleased with these.
There you are. Apparently letting your anger out just makes matters worse. So, if you want to wash the bacteria off your hands, what temperature should the water be?
Killing bacteria, I would say it needs to be 30, 40.
Well, the point is, in order to kill the bacteria, the water would have to be far too hot for you
Far
to
too
bear
hot
it.
to touch.
It would have to be about 80 degrees centigrade. It's nothing to do with the temperature, in fact. It is to do with, as you would know as a doctor, it's actually the vigorousness of the scrubbing action.
Actually, for proper infection control, we should all be naked below the elbow.
Oh, really? Short sleeves is the answer?
Yeah.
Which you do see in some doctors nowadays, actually. I've noticed that. Is that now the norm?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, that's interesting.
I like those taps they have, you know, the elbow
Oh,
tap.
yes,
Yeah, yeah.
that's it.
I quite get some of those for home.
But do, above all, avoid fatty and spicy food. Now, how many portions of fruit and veg should you eat each day?
Oh, now, in Japan, they say 9.
That's the thing. It's different all over the world, it seems. The 5 is being chosen in Britain, basically, because they think that's basically the most they can persuade the British to eat. And we are the most reluctant to eat
There's
anything.
no way they'll eat any of it.
Anything green is
Say
just
5.
repulsive to us. But Denmark says 6, France 10, Canada it's between 5 and 10.
Somebody just went, oh!
Yes. Oh, dear.
Scotland, it's 1.
Scotland. I know. Supposedly it's 7 for women and
Exactly, Haribo's
7 for
count
women.
in Scotland.
That's a vegetable. Star mix.
I had a bag of dolly mixtures.
I really wish my fridge looked like that. Does anyone's
stay like
fridge
that?
ever look like that?
Certainly not mine, no, I have to say. I can't see a single pork pie in there.
No.
That, to me, is no fridge.
I have a lot of veg in
Do you
my
like
fridge, I
pork
must say.
pies?
I love pork.
I love pork pies.
I like pork pies, but I find You start a pork pie, you think, I really like this pork pie. 2/3 the way through, I start to go off it, and I don't know why.
Oh.
Is that to do with me?
Send it to me, the rest of it.
Yeah.
You've got
I'm mad at
complex pork pie avoidance.
Yes, you have. It's actually rather staggering. There are only British people left alive on the world. It's just amazing. We all eat fatty, spicy food and certainly don't get our 5 a day. And lastly, here's something every teenage boy should know. What is it that burns when you set fire to your farts?
You want someone to say methane, don't you?
I'll say it.
Oh, thank you, Andy. No, I really thought it was methane. Yes, everybody thinks it's methane. No, most human beings do not produce methane in extrusion. It seems that we produce about 3 pints of wind a day. Released...
Pints?
Yes, pints. It's measured in pints. Released in 10 to 15 individual episodes.
You get a box set as well.
Or you can have a feature-length episode.
So, pyroflatulence is the practice of igniting these episodes. Can lead to serious burns, so don't try it at home, everybody. But methane in the body results from microbes called methanogens. But only about 1/3 of humans have methanogens among their gut flora. So no one knows exactly why. That appears to be genetically determined. And a 2009 study by Arizona State University showed that methane producers are more efficient at converting their undigested food into fat reserves, which, bluntly put, means fat people fart more. The major components of flatus... The major components are all odourless. The distinctive aroma is caused by skatol, indole and hydrogen sulfide. During the Great Plague of London, doctors recommended patients store their farts in a jar and then, when they were feeling unwell, smell them. And apparently this would help. Anyway, it's usually hydrogen, in fact, that's lit.
But as I always say, better out than in.
Definitely.
A bit like Simon Cowell in a lifeboat.
And now, the complications set in as we look at the final scores. It's very exciting because in first place, with a very positive and a very thrillingly impressive 8 points, is Andy Hamilton.
Oh.
And in second place with 5 points is Dr. Ben Goldacre. But by no means the sickest patient on the ward with only -7 is Alan David. I'm afraid it's get the mortuary trolley ready at -24, Joe Brown. That's all from us tonight, so it's good night from Ben, Andy, Joe, Alan and me. And I leave you with this heartwarming tale from America. In 1981, the mayor of Springfield, Illinois, suffered a heart attack during a council meeting. The council voted to wish him a speedy recovery by a margin of 19 votes to 18. Good night.
Unanswerable questions and nagging problems addressed tomorrow over on BBC One in Ask Rod Gilbert from 11:10. And the comedy continues here on BBC HD this evening too, with a behind-the-scenes look at Life's Too Short.